Hi guys, this is Andre. Welcome to the Marketing Innovation Podcast Show. Today on the show with us we have Roland, our voice specialist and Alexa developer, and we will discuss the trends in voice adoption, voice search and voice assistance, as well as where there are opportunities for brands to develop, step in and gain an unfair advantage against their competitions, as well as raise their bottom line and position as leaders into this new emerging market. Stay close. Hi guys, welcome back to the Marketing Innovation Podcast. So we are now today with Roland Gavilescu, which is our Amazon Alexa developer and voice specialist. And following from our latest episode when we were discussing the reason why we believe voice is the next platform, today we are diving straight into the subject and analyzing the trends and adoption of the voice, because as we were discussing, this is a very much of a growing trend. And we need to actually showcase the opportunities for brands to make a difference in this space. So we were discussing about time and convenience of interaction with devices and why we believe that this is going to be a big competitive advantage, let's say, for voice against other platforms. Roland, do you want to share a bit of your thoughts in this and make a smooth introduction into the content?
Sure. Cool. So if you followed our latest articles and podcasts, we talked a lot about how the main quality of voice as a platform would be saving time. So we realized by everyday basis that we value time more and more, and we become more and more busy. So we're trying to squeeze these small moments of time while we are driving or going to school or washing the dishes or stuff like that. So we're trying to optimize and make every moment count by always learning, by listening to audio, books, podcasts and stuff like that. So the main quality of voice is that it's passive, it's always there, it's ambient, and will always be and will always adapt to your environment and to you as a person with your new habits, with new preferences. Your assistant will know about them, they will be able to anticipate them and be able to present you the information you need at the best time.
Amazing, great stuff. So indeed, we can see a growth in the sales of these devices. We can see a growth in the usage of voice assistants such as Google. So at the moment, 1 in every 4 mobile searches in America is being done through voice, and we expect 1 in 2 mobile searches to be done through voice in the next 2 years. So that's a very major, trend that any company acting in a B2C environment should consider and take advantage on early. Some of the applications that we see most often are probably undeniably actually the voice search when people search for information, as well as probably playing music and things like this through speakers. So you probably have seen this in your life as well, maybe going over to friends and asking their speaker to play a song while they were pouring cocktails or something like that. But it's certainly something that we as a society become more accustomed to seeing, using and so on, so it's becoming more mainstream. Now let's take a look at what environments people actually use voice search and which would be the best demographics to target through different things, because if you are a business owner, you certainly know your demographic, and if there's an opportunity, this is first where you should be looking at if your demographic actually uses voice, and in which way, in which circumstances and social scenarios. So we were analyzing together, me and Roland, a couple of articles and new research from many companies, including PwC. And we could see that people are becoming less inhibited about using voice search and talking to their phones in public spaces, which is certainly hint into how this is becoming more socially acceptable and people got used to this. Now let's take a look at the demographics. So Roland, do you want to take us through this demographic usage at first?
Sure, yeah. So we're seeing from a consumer survey done by Stone Temple Consulting that the 35 to 44 years old demographic is more comfortable to using a voice tech at home and at work. So most probably they are using smart speakers in a family environment or office environment. What I've seen from a lot of forums such as Reddit is that many adults are using the Alexa speakers and Alexa Show in the kitchens. So they have this assistant in kitchen that help them with cooking and watching tutorials if they want to cook a new recipe, and also keep them up to speed with their children's latest activities. If they're in their rooms, they can broadcast a message to the entire family, and also be able to, when you basically shout for your kids to come to dinner, you can do it via Alexa. You just say, call my kids to the dinner, and Alexa will be able to broadcast this message to all the echoes.
Yeah, oh, super cool. Okay, I think that America is actually a great market for this because, judging, for example, America versus the UK, where we are based at the moment, here the houses are not that big, so it's, a bit easier to call everybody for dinner. But America certainly having bigger houses and stuff, that could be a nice application. Let's look though a bit commercially. So we can see that these people are mostly used to using the devices such as Alexa speakers and so on in home. So probably they will be more probable to make purchases. And actually from the PwC's latest research study, we have seen that people actually in this demographic do purchases for example, cat food or toilet paper and things that are not very high value, and they are easy to guess from an artificial intelligence perspective which would be the best brand for the customer based on their previous purchases and so on and so forth. So we can see they are already doing it. But what about the younger demographics? So for example, the under 34s, how are they interacting with this? We could see, for example, that they are more willing to use it in public spaces.
Yeah, sure. The younger demographic seems more accommodate to using Siri and phone voice assistants in public. I think they had more time to accommodate with the technology, as the iPhone was the first phone that introduced the voice assistant concept. You remember when it wasn't Steve Jobs, was I think Tim Cook, showcased the Siri at the Let's Talk iPhone. I remember this perfectly in 2011. And you were able to ask about the weather and set timers and all these. And this was very innovative at the moment for all the iPhone users. So they had a 7-year window to get accommodated to talking to the phone assistant in public and trying to set up reminders and alarms and stuff like that. So they would be more interested in integrating this service in their daily lives and daily activities, because most of the teenagers and college students have been growing with this technology. So they find it as normal as playing on their phones, I guess, while the older demographic, they're still new to the technology and they understand the voice service more of a household helper that helps you with the cooking timers, helps you with the latest news, helps you with the broadcast feature, for sure, with ordering consumables and also watching tutorials and recipes while cooking.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to consider, again from a brand's perspective, that the speakers that are being used in-house, many times so they are being used either to find out information or with a purchase intent. And I think it's really important to understand this from the brand perspective, because then you can seize these opportunities to make the sale easier and the conversion faster, while building the trust for the person using the speaker, let's say, or the Alexa service or Google Assistant. Because as research shows, many people believe the assistant to be smarter, faster, and easier way to perform everyday activities. But at the same time, undeniably, there's a certain population that believes maybe the searches are not that accurate, or don't completely understand the technology in order to trust it fully. So it's gonna be probably a matter of brands optimizing their products for search to match the search criteria from the end user as closely as possible, so that they become the most relevant in their category. And this is certainly something that we will explore in very much depth in one of our next podcast episodes. But optimizing your product as an e-commerce brand for discoverability, as well as for the sale, and doing the SEO right for voice, is one of the main aspects that you should be concerned about at this very point in time. Because the brands that are going to be able to capitalize on this and optimize their products well and become top search results, they are the ones that are going to win in the long run. So another important thing that we need to mention here, and we'll explore even further in the next articles, is the search engines that are being used on, for example, Alexa devices versus Google Assistant devices, and why this is important, and how these actually work. So, for example, Roland knows a lot about these things, but for example, the Google Assistant uses obviously Google as a search engine, while the default search engine for Amazon is Bing. Surprisingly enough, if you didn't know this in the beginning, but Bing is gonna probably be one of the very, very big competitors for Google in a very short period of time, really.
Yeah, so let me tell more about this. So when Siri was launched 7 years ago, it came with the Bing search as a default, because Apple was competing with Google, obviously, for their mobile platforms. And for a long time, I think Siri requests and voice searches were the biggest drivers for Bing search engine. I think the most queries were coming from the iPhone users, more than the Internet Explorer or Edge, like new users that usually buy Windows laptops. When it comes to Amazon, it was launched in 2014, and as well went with Bing as a search engine, because they were obviously competing with Google on search first, and second on artificial intelligence. A little bit about Amazon in the artificial intelligence industry. They have the Amazon Web Services cloud computing platform, which is the backbone of the internet, I would say. Spotify and Netflix and governments and a lot of other big data companies are using the infrastructure for their daily users and activities. And Google also has been building the Google Cloud platform, so that's why the choice of using Bing. Bing is being a strategic partner for both. Not really Bing, but Microsoft has been making alliances with Apple against Google, and also making alliances with Amazon against Google as well. And nowadays, Siri is using Google as their default search engine, but only because Google is paying, I think, a check of $3 billion a year for having the voice search engine set to Google as default. That's the only reason for that big check, because they know that they're a bit behind with voice search, and Amazon has been doing it for quite a while, and Siri as well. And the most traffic are coming from Amazon and past Siri devices. So now the big war would be on Bing voice optimization versus Google voice optimization, and which one can have the most optimized websites. And if you look at it, the Siri searches, most of them are, hey, I found a list of links, check it out. That's the result. While the Amazon Alexa, it's more of a, okay, I found this from this website, and it tells you everything about your search from extracting from that website. And Google have been doing this for quite a while now, and I think the main key point here is that Bing is not a loser anymore. Bing has a big opportunity of competing with Google real time on voice search. And as you said, Bing is the best. It's a better bang on the buck for brands to advertise on. And I will highly recommend to look into the SEO process on Bing for voice search especially.
Yeah, actually, maybe something that is worth mentioning to our listeners here as well is that lately we have been working quite a bit with Bing ads and Bing search optimization as well as Google, and we found that we could generate almost 3 times the results for our clients for the same money using Bing as opposed to Google. Now, obviously, from a company perspective, again, going back to my point a bit earlier, you have to know your target audience. But keep in mind that at the moment, a third of the searches in America, for example, are being done through Bing. And there's certainly a market there that is underpriced at the moment to advertise to. And is a big opportunity, not only in voice, but also in traditional search at the time of recording this podcast. So August 2018. However, next year, voice might be even a better space. However, next year, Bing might be even a bigger space for you as a brand to make a difference and to earn additional income by targeting the people in the right way and optimizing your products, names and discoverability and so on. So we can go back now to the actual adoption of these devices and see where are they mostly being used and which type of device is being used in which space. And with this, I think we can wrap up. But let's give it a closer look at the moment and see, for example, in which activities people use most. So we were discussing about cooking and that people tend to be using quite a bit these voice devices in cooking. And also while multitasking, because as we said, it's a passive interactive element and people value convenience a lot. Roland, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess the family setup is the most used at the moment by the mid-age audience. Again, like the most use cases of having a standalone speaker would be in the kitchen while multitasking, maybe in your office or in living room or in your room, and watching TV. So watching TV, it's an active, passive kind of activity. Most of the times it's just there to make a noise. Or if you're really engaged with the movie, you don't want to interrupt the experience and complete a quick task by switching to another device. Watching videos, it's like it's been debunked that most of people try to think of watching, let's say, YouTube while doing their homework. It's multitasking. Is not, because your vision, it's either on the screen or on your notebook. But voice is passive, sound is passive, sound is coming from all places. And if you hear a car, you hear your smart speaker, and you hear your spouse all at the same time, that's called true multitasking. So audio and voice has a real potential of creating a multitasking environment where you can interact with a lot of people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
rather than like focusing on your phone, then on your TV, then on your kitchen, and then back on your phone and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also going back into the way that people interact with advertising on TV, it's very well known in the marketing space that the conversion, the advertising on TV is not really to drive instant conversion, and most times people go on their mobile devices, let's say at the moment, to research for more information or to make a purchase. But the conversion journey is gonna be much shorter when they will be able, to see an ad on the TV and then ask their speaker to order that element if it's a smart TV, let's say, and the integration is being done within the elements, or even if not, then they can still ask their speaker to purchase that item, and then that item is optimized for voice search, so the conversion is immediate. That makes sense. So it's a big opportunity. What about driving?
Yeah, definitely. A big problem with driving is texting and driving, and there's been so many accidents and cases against this. But what Gary was saying, for example, is that he's glad that his kids will not be able to text and drive, because by the time they'll start driving, all cars will have built-in voice assistants, or they will have Alexa and Google and Siri integrated already in it. And voice will be the main the main UI of cars, of self-driving cars and smart cars. Even the dashboard, if you think of it, you have to look at your right. Have you seen the Tesla Model 3? Yeah, they don't have a dashboard in front of you, like behind the wheel. The dashboard, it's on the side, so it's in the middle of the car where the air conditioning would be. And that's very distracting, because you have to look there and then look at the road and have like this kind of attention disruptors or attention barriers. Yeah, kind of that, obstacles. And that's like very bad UI and very risky to always have to look like in the mirror, in the dashboard, on the road and stuff like that. But with voice, you'll be able to keep your eyes on the road and also interact with the car in a new way. If you want to turn on the heat, you can just say it. If you want to lock the doors, you can just say it. You don't need to try to reach for the buttons or try to operate on the touchscreen. If you need to enter a GPS address, just say it. It's so much easier. We've been doing that for years on the phones. Why isn't it in the cars yet? But yeah, that's the main technology that is being showcased at all these cars conventions nowadays. Alexa integration and built-in assistance from BMW and Ford and all these cars that also are doing automate systems. So I think both of them will come at kind of at the same time. I think voice will come. I will give it a window of 2 to 3 years to be standard in every car. Mm-hmm. But it's already happening for sure.
Amazing. Yeah, super cool. So, kind of like to wrap it up and conclude, yeah, voice is happening. It's been happening for a while now, and we expect a very big rise in the next couple of months, years. If you're a brand acting mainly in an e-commerce space, then this is a big opportunity for you to take advantage of, as well as develop your technology around today. Because when this is gonna be mass market, you wanna be prepared to attack the new public directly and position yourself as a leader in the industry rather than a follower. This could be good not only for conversions and increasing your revenue, but also for the branding and so on. If you are an innovative brand, then certainly this is something to look into. As we said, if you ever have questions or you'd like to find out more, give us a shout. You can reach us on social media or email at hello@marketiu.com. You can find more details on our platforms, on our website, and definitely stick close, because in the next episode we are going to discuss about the SEO and how you can optimize your products to show up in search as well as what brands are relevant at the moment. So until next time, Roland, was great having you on the podcast show again today. Guys, thank you very much for following us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to meeting you on our next episode. Have an amazing time. See ya.